Yo, what's going on, guys? We are back today for another video, and we got something very, very interesting to be talking about. So I'm sure a lot of you guys know who Kabam Crashed is. If you aren't aware, he's basically one of the higher-ups at Kabam, and is in charge of kind of steering the game in the correct direction, essentially. So he just dropped a massive, we had another dev diary, before we had the finding the middle ground. This dev diary is specifically pertaining to first appearance champions, which, if you don't know what we're talking about, basically talking about this, turning like our champions to look kind of like holofoil Pokemon cards, essentially. And just more cosmetic stuff. So, which you might not think, like Legacy, do I really care about a dev diary about that? Maybe not at first. I was going to say first glance, but first word spoken or heard of it. But they really peel back the curtain when it comes to their monetization strategies. Like, this is some really interesting info in here, so I'm going to be going over it. If that interests you, strap in. But yeah, let's go ahead and get straight into it. So, Dev Diary, First Appearance Champions. In this Dev Diary, we will dig into the history of Marvel Contest Champions to explain the release of our new cosmetic feature, First Appearance Champions, where we are and how we got here. So today I want to take some time to peel back the curtain and have a transparent discussion about where we are regarding the current monetization strategy for Marvel Contest Champions. Our game has changed a lot in the last 11 years, and as the game has changed, we have had to evolve the way we operate it. One major way it has changed is how the game makes money, which, this is really interesting, guys, I'm telling you. So let's hear. This is from Kabam's side of things. So many of us have been saying, like, there's so many freaking sales, like every month a new sale, a new sale, a new sale. We're going to be hearing all about that and why they're doing that. So, in the early years of the contest, almost all of our revenue came from what we call baseline. This was mostly players buying base unit packs in order to buy consumables and content. Alliance Quest made a lot of money every week. Let me read that again. Alliance Quest made a lot of money every week. Like, that is, for someone who only started playing the game within like the last year or two, if you hear that, you're like, well, you probably wouldn't even believe that. It's like, what? With a top map tuned so that only a handful of alliances could reasonably complete it. Alliance War was similar, and with most wars being won based on who could finish the map, not who lost the most attack bonuses. Every new chapter of story made an enormous amount of revenue on the quest consumables, and many players used the majority of their MCOC budget to complete regular monthly content, as in, any money that you spend on the game or your units farmed. That's the MCOC budget, I'm assuming. So fast forward to 2025, and less than 20% of our revenue comes from baseline. Players now spend very little money on consumables of any form. We believe there are two major reasons why this has changed. Because, no one wants to be spending consumables on money, or spending money on consumables in today's game. Like, no. No, of course not. We farm that. We farm our consumables. So the first is something outside of our control. Players are, on average, way better at the game than they were 10 years ago. And this is just an absolute fact. This is just a fact. Like, we as a community have gotten so much better. Like, I used to think I was pretty good at the game. Like, when back in New York Comic-Con, when I won, got my trophy and stuff, I thought I was good back then. Me now would, I would destroy my old self, even if it was, like, the same champions and not, like, 200 new champions that we have now. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, I am so much technically better now than I was, like, 8 years ago. Of course, if I wasn't, there'd be a problem, I strive myself on improving and getting better at the game, all the time. And it's, like, it's crazy how much better I am now than I was all those years ago. And I'm sure all you guys, too, if you've been playing the game for years, like, it's day and night difference. And even if you started playing in more recent time, there's so much on YouTube, so many videos, so many guides to help you get better, So if you go for a walk down memory lane on YouTube, you will see this pretty clearly. For instances, many players who were considered good at the time struggled with the Ultron boss at the end of Act 5 when it was first released. These days, it would be hard to find an endgame player who couldn't solo that fight with a 4-star of their choice. Well, sure, okay, I got a problem with this, actually. So, first and foremost, there are hundreds more champions in game now than when that boss first came out. So that also means there's like 10, 20 times the amount of champions that can do the fight. When that fight first came out, there was only a couple champions that were actually like good counters to it, you know? So, I don't totally agree with that, you know? Like, but sure. These days, it would be, we read that, there are some battlegrounds, battle groups that die less than 10 times a season in Alliance War, and for hundreds of alliances, AQ Map 8 is a walk in the park. Players are simply able to do much more challenging content using few or no consumables than they were in the past. The second reason is related to deliberate design decisions on our part. We decided that content with very high participation rates, like story and AQ, shouldn't be a massive roadblock for players. This was because we wanted lower skilled players to be able to enjoy large parts of the game. In some ways, our hand was also forced by the increase in player skill. Imagine how impossibly difficult Act 9 would have to be in order for it to be as hard as Act 6 was when it was released. Which, you know, Act 6 to this day, it still needs to be nerfed, supposedly, by Kabam standards, you know, and they are about to nerf it even further, and it's already been nerfed, I think, at least once, I think even more than once already. Like, Act 6 remains, like, one of, probably, yeah, the most difficult act ever created. Which is crazy, even today, by today's standards, after it's been nerfed, and it still needs to be nerfed more. Dude, Act 6 was probably my favorite act ever, because, like, that, well, I guess I was around for all of Act 5 when it came out. But Act 6, like, by the time Act 6 came out, like, I was more established in the community and more endgame, and I was running legend runs, man. Like, for 6.2, 6.3, I got the legend run secured on both of those. That's how I got my 6-star weapon flex originally. I miss Act 6, bro. Those were some of the golden days. Even though it was hard as hell, but, like, that's what made it fun, and like it felt really, really good when you finally were able to do it. And still, just like one of the most peak series all time in MCOC on YouTube is Brian Grant's Act 6.2 itemless challenge. He did all of Act 6.2 itemless, and it took him so long. He redid so many paths. He redid so many quests. The dedication from that man was just unreal, and it was such a treat to be able to watch. And it's still up on his YouTube channel. You know, if you guys have never seen it, it's awesome. It's super long, but it's awesome. So relative to the current skill of an endgame player, imagine what we would have to do for an AQ Map 9 to require most endgame players to spend a substantial amount on AQ consumables. Players are so good now that it's very challenging to create content that sinks a large volume of consumables without it feeling unfair. So why can't we go back to the good old days? Common sentiment expressed by long-time players is, why can't the contest be like it was a decade ago? If it's not broke, don't fix it. The problem with the sentiment is that when it comes to the details, players clearly don't want the contest of the past. Players have told us in no uncertain terms they do not want to spend units on consumables. That's true. This has been very apparent in the last 5 years, exemplified by the incident a few years ago when we removed the major revive farms players were using. A contest that looks like it did 8 years ago is one where most players are spending substantial units on consumables across most major content, one in which it's effectively impossible to complete a new story chapter the week it's released, and one in which very few alliances can complete the top AQ map. You have told us that this isn't what you want. So why so many sales? Here we get to a great question. Why is there a sale every damn month of the year? The shift in player behavior and content design had directly led to the current monetization strategy for the game. As baseline revenue has disappeared, we have had to find ways to replace it. Some call this greedy, but there is no business in the world that would see the biggest revenue stream of their biggest product disappearing and say, well, I guess we just make less money now. For sure, but there's more than one way to go about making that money back. And having a sale every month and doing decisions that your players hate and are starting boycotts over is not the right way, Kabam. That's not the right way. Okay? I promise you that. As baseline disappeared, more revenue had to come from offers. This trend started at least 5 years ago and continues today. And the best way to make money from offers is to have big offer events, which are sales. The team knew years ago that creating more sales could result in a self-reinforcing feedback loop, but they didn't think they had any other choice but to proceed down this road. There's always another road. There's always another path. You just gotta think outside the box, man. And like that's why I wanted to get hired by Kabam, years ago. Right now, I don't know. But years ago, I wanted to because like I think of myself as an idea man, bro. I can think outside the box. I can think outside the room. I can think outside the earth. Like I pull some crazy ideas sometimes, man. It is like there's always another choice. You just gotta figure it out. So as the team added more sales, players were trained to save their money and units for sales, which resulted in further decreases in baseline, which resulted in more sales. Because players only spent on sales, their perception of the value of resources also shifted, meaning we had to continually offer more for less, leading to more aggressive sales. As players saved for sales and free unit sources increased, average unit balances increased substantially, which led to inflation and more expensive sales. Guys, I've been telling you, man, unit inflation is a real thing. This is the first time Kabam has ever admitted it. Damn. Feels good to just be like, man, just to get what's the word I'm looking for? The reassurance that I'm correct. Like the unit inflation has gotten so stupidly out of hand, man, in recent times. Like it used to be 10k units, you're good for an event, and then it was 15k units, all in, you're good for the entire event. That's like 2 of those a year, so it's like 30k units, 2 biggest events of the year, July 4th, Cyber Weekend. You farm up the rest of the year to get those units, and then boom, you're good for those events. Now, it's freaking 40k units back-to-back months. Like Dark Phoenix Human Torch, 40k, that's 80k units in like less than 3 months. Like, that's ridiculous inflation. Like, there's inflation, and then there's just ridiculous inflation. Oh my god. So what's the plan? We do not want to be in this situation any more than players do. There isn't a member of the dev team who wouldn't love Alliance Quest to pay our salaries just by existing, but that world is gone. We do not believe trying to force monetization back into our existing game modes is going to work, either for us or our players. So the plan is to try some new things, and the new thing we announced today is First Appearance Champions. Right now, options for summoners to customize their aesthetic and express themselves are rare, generally limited to profile pictures and titles. Over the years, we have heard from players that they want more options. Some players even go as far as trying to manipulate their top champion's profile screen by underleveling their champions. So yeah, dude, like I have always wanted more customization, and there's so many possibilities. Like, let me give you guys just an example here, So, like, if we go into, the Crystal Vault. I think the game's actually down right now, but I'm still in. But, like, and especially, like, I remember, like, one of the early trailers, like, you see Kang's ship. It's huge, and, like, there's so much going on, and just crystals everywhere, right? Like, why can't we have our own ship? What if we had the Summoner's ship, and, like, it's, like, a little room, and, like, you can customize it. You can, like, put your top champions. You can put you see your items in there. Like it could be so much more interactive. If you had like your own little spaceship, because we're the summoner in the battle realm. Where do we sleep? Where do we eat? That's never been explained. Why don't we have our own little humble abode in the battle realm? That'd be freaking awesome. And the customized ability with that could be infinite. And like, what if you could attack other people's ships, other summoner ships with your ship? You could have some type of battle. Like, there's so many possibilities, dude. This is what I mean by just ideas, thinking outside the box. Like, there's so much. There's so much they could do. This game has, like, I truly believe this game has infinite potential, bro. I do think this is the best mobile game ever created. If I didn't think that, I wouldn't have been here for 8 years making content and playing the game every day. I really think it's that good. Or has the potential to be. Even as is, I think it's great, but like I believe in the potential. So, First Appearance Champions is a purely cosmetic feature that we built to see if we can generate some interest, even a small amount, by rewarding and selling something that isn't more power. We are sure some will react by saying things like, nobody asked for this, but we are hoping that you can keep an open mind. And that's BS, because I have been in, like, I remember 5 years ago being in Brian Grant stream and people asking for cosmetics. Like, people have been asking for champion skins, more cosmetics, more customizability for years and years and years and years and years. Not everyone, but a lot of people have been. I promise you. I've seen it with my own 2 eyes. I myself would love more cosmetic customizability, but I don't want to have to just buy it. I want to be able to earn it. While the primary source of First Appearance Champions this year will be featured champion crystals, we plan to use the system for engagement-based achievements as well. For instance, completing the Deathless Necropolis challenge within a week of Thanos' release could have awarded a First Appearance Thanos. Dude, that would be so... That sounds amazing. I'm pretty sure I completed that within the first week. Give me my First Appearance Thanos, bro. Come on. There might also be options to collect First Appearance of 7-star champions already available in-game. Ooh, that would be sweet. And even if you only ever collected a few First Appearance champions, our ability to create value from something that isn't directly tied to champion power is good for everyone, especially if it doesn't increase the power gap between free-to-play players and the big spenders. This is a big one. This is a very big one. Because, you know, if Kabam is selling power, you know, then that's only going to increase that gap. Oh, looks like my game finally got kicked out. But yeah, so this won't really increase that gap between free-to-play players and the whales, which is huge. So at some decent middle ground, we found a way for Kabam to create some revenue without forcing sales on us and without increasing that gap between the free-to-play players and big spenders. Okay. First Appearance Champions is our first real attempt to create a cosmetic ecosystem in the contest. If it's successful, we plan to go further down this road and explore more cosmetic options like customizable profiles and true achievement systems. Nothing is ever certain, but we're hopeful that this will work. And if it does, we think it will be very good for the health of the game, help us break free from this feedback loop, and ideally allow us to dial back our sales. That would sure be nice. And hopefully dial down like the frequency and like the overall cost. Like, it shouldn't be 40,000 units, bro, for just some random ass monthly sale. No. Hell no. Like, there should be a hard unit cap that it should never go over that on a sale. So for no matter what the sale is, if you have a certain number of units, you know you're guaranteed you're good. And it should not be 40,000. No. Highest cap I'd be okay with is like 30,000, and still, that's still so high. I think like 25k would be a decent cap. Still, that's so much. Like, that's literally double the amount of units I have right now. I have like less than 13,000. I would show you, but I just got kicked from the game, so I don't know if I can get back in. But okay. So the way forward, First Appearance Champions is not a feature that is going to solve all the game's problems. As we discussed in a diary earlier this week, there's no question that the quality of the product has not been up to par as of late. We need to give players the experience they deserve, and addressing our quality issues remains our top priority. Most of our engineering and production resources are focused on making the experience better. At the same time, it is important that we work on the features we need to secure the game's future, and we are hoping First Appearance Champions will be a small step in that direction. Okay, I'm actually back in the game now. And yeah, you can see my units are at 12,800, so that's like a little bit more than half of 25,000 units. That's still so much. So yeah, dude, that's the entire post from Kabam Crashed. A lot of really interesting stuff, especially, like, I really found it interesting when they peel back the curtain about how they used to make money and just their monetization strategy. I find all that very interesting. And then let's read what some of you guys are saying. There is, oh my god, 1 to 30 pages of comments? There's a lot. I think it's a good point to start this journey to better days. I wouldn't mind a way to upgrade older champions, like as a way of replacing legend runs, like for example, finishing it older difficulty within the first 4 hours of release or so. Cosmetic monetization, I can get behind. I'll pair that with some AI fixes and game stability, and we have something to be excited for. As a free to play in all the live service games I play, I've only ever spent money for cosmetics. I'll probably be willing to spend on cosmetics in the future if some of them are reasonably priced. Yes, cosmetics and skins. Please, we need skins of different champs. It's way more fun and valuable to collect them than the profile glowing up. Imagining Doom having the Dread Emperor skin. I want skins too, but I feel like the reason why we haven't got them yet and why Kabam like is so stingy with it, kind of like, you know, if you look at like a game like Marvel Rivals, you know, you got skins, you got one character, and you can be like a whole bunch of different versions. For example, Mr. Fantastic in Marvel Rivals, you know, you can be regular old Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic, you know, totally. Or you can change him via skin to look like this guy, the Maker. Now, Kabam wouldn't want to do that because Kabam can just make an entirely new champion instead of just having a skin. You know, so I don't know if we're ever going to get skins for that reason. Because Kabam loves to make multiple different versions of characters. But I would love it. I would absolutely love it. Honestly, I love it. It's actually exactly what people have been asking for. And before someone jumps in and says, I wasn't asking for this, if you've been asking for ways for MCOC can monetize in ways that don't increase the gap between pay to win and free to play, then yes, this is exactly what you have been asking for. Not for you, ignore it. For those who like cosmetics and customizations, have a blast. Any additional source of revenue for the company in the game that doesn't actually give an advantage to someone else should be celebrated by all. I think this guy has a good outlook on this. I think this is a fair post. We all know Kabam needs to make money to keep the game running, and the gap between free-to-play and spenders keeps growing. I think this is a great middle ground to test. People enjoy their cosmetics, and investing money into something like this won't create even larger power gaps. I'm interested to see where this goes, and I'm especially interested to see how it's implemented for achievements. Yeah, me too. That would be awesome if you do a challenge and you can earn a rare first appearance champ instead of having to throw a ton of money to get it down. Yeah, dude. Like, I love achievements. Like, I loved doing like Easter eggs and Call of Duty Zombies, you know, like that kind of stuff. Like, again, speaking of Call of Duty, I made this example, I think, on my live stream when I was going over the live stream, but essentially like in Call of Duty, you know, which I put in many hours from about grade 6 to grade 11 every day, many hours. And so, you know, gun camos in that game. And how it would work, you know, you do challenges with the gun, and then you'd get unlocked camos. So, like, I would love for champions to have, you know, challenges. You do a certain amount of fights with this champion. You win a certain amount of battleground matches with the champion. You take them into Alliance War. You win Alliance War fights with the champion. You take them into Alliance Quest. You know, you do fights with them all over the game. XYZ, this challenge, that challenge, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. Boom, you unlock cool stuff when you do it. You know? Like a cool glow on the champion, or you know, who knows? Like, again, the possibilities are just about limitless. Like, Kabam can literally, whatever they think of, they can just write the code for it and put it in game. Like, they can literally just print free money by making this stuff in game. Like, it's an insane business model that Kabam has, man, that they have access to. And yeah, like, there's so many avenues to make money that they can go down, and I think they're finally going down this one. I think it's good, man. I think this is a great first step, but again, it's all going to depend how it's implemented. You know, if like right now, it's really just for the whales who buy crystals for the new champs, which doesn't excite me at all. I don't buy crystals for new champions typically. You know, I haven't bought a early access bundle in months. So that does not really pertain to me. But challenges, achievements, dude, yeah, that's right up my alley. Day one, I'll be in there, especially if, like, I'll get something. If I do it, like, day one or, like, the first week. Like, this whole Deathless Thanos thing. If that was a thing, bro, I would get that no matter what. Even if it was within the first 24 hours, I'd be in there knocking it all out, doing a 24-hour stream to get that. Like, that'd be so much fun. That'd be so hype. That'd be such good content to stream for you guys. Like, again, the possibilities here I'm really looking forward to it, man. I hope Kabam doesn't fumble the bag on this, man. But if they do, or if they start to, you know, we just gotta hopefully get them to course correct with our feedback. So, yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. drop some comments. Let me know what you guys think about all this cosmetic stuff. How do you feel about it? Are you excited? Is this something you've been asking for? Do you like it because it's not going to increase the gap between free to play and whales? Let me know all your guys' thoughts and feedback in the comment section down below. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. And if you are ever spending on the web store, and you want to support your boy Lagacy, that's my creator code, LAG, all lowercase. Instead of Kabam getting all your money, a small kickback percentage will go to me or whoever's code you use for your favorite creator. But yeah, that's a wrap for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I'll have a wonderful, blessed day. Peace.